Welcome back to Kafka Internal's Crashcasts. I'm your host, Sheila, and today we're diving deeper into the core concepts of Kafka. We'll be exploring topics and partitions, which are fundamental to understanding how Kafka organizes and manages data. Victor, our Kafka expert, is here to help us unravel these concepts. Before we start, let's kick things off with a quiz question for our listeners. Victor, would you like to do the honors?
Certainly, Sheila. Here's a brain teaser for our listeners. In a Kafka topic with multiple partitions, can messages with the same key end up in different partitions? Think about that, and we'll reveal the answer at the end of the episode.
Ooh, that's an intriguing question, Victor. It really makes you think about how Kafka handles data distribution. Now, let's start with the basics. Can you explain what topics are in Kafka?
Absolutely, Sheila. In Kafka, a topic is essentially a category or feed name to which messages are published. You can think of a topic as a logical collection of related messages. For example, you might have a topic for customer orders or sensor data.
That makes sense. So, topics are like containers for specific types of messages. But where do partitions come into play?
Great question. Partitions are where things get interesting. Each topic in Kafka is divided into one or more partitions. These partitions are the physical division of the topic's data across the Kafka cluster. Think of a topic as a filing cabinet and partitions as the drawers within that cabinet.
I like that analogy. So, if topics are like filing cabinets and partitions are like drawers, why not just have one big drawer? What's the benefit of having multiple partitions?
Excellent point, Sheila. The main reasons for having multiple partitions are scalability and parallelism. By dividing a topic into partitions, Kafka can distribute the data across multiple brokers in the cluster. This allows for parallel processing of messages, which significantly improves throughput and performance.
That makes a lot of sense. So, it's like having multiple people able to access different drawers of the filing cabinet at the same time, rather than waiting for one person to finish with the whole cabinet. But how does Kafka decide which message goes into which partition?
That's where partition keys come in. When a producer sends a message to a Kafka topic, it can specify a partition key. Kafka uses a hash of this key to determine which partition the message should go to. Messages with the same key will always go to the same partition, ensuring that related messages are kept together and in order within a partition.
Interesting. So, if I understand correctly, this means that while messages across different partitions might not be in a specific order, within each partition, the messages are ordered. Is that right?
Exactly right, Sheila. Kafka guarantees message order within a partition, but not across partitions. This is a crucial point for developers to understand when designing their Kafka-based systems.
Got it. Now, I'm curious about how this compares to other messaging systems. How is Kafka's approach with topics and partitions different from, say, traditional message queues?
That's a great comparison to make. Traditional message queues typically have a single queue for messages, which can become a bottleneck as scale increases. Kafka's partitioned approach allows for much higher throughput and better scalability. Additionally, Kafka retains messages for a configurable period, allowing for replay and multiple consumers, unlike many traditional queues where messages are deleted after being consumed.
Fascinating. It seems like Kafka's design really prioritizes scalability and flexibility. Are there any common pitfalls or misunderstandings that people often have about topics and partitions?
Absolutely. One common misunderstanding is assuming that more partitions always lead to better performance. While partitions do allow for more parallelism, having too many partitions can actually degrade performance due to increased overhead. It's important to choose the right number of partitions based on your specific use case and cluster size.
That's a valuable insight, Victor. It reminds me of the saying, too much of a good thing. Before we wrap up, do you have any best practices or tips for working with topics and partitions?
Certainly. Here are a few key points to remember. 1. Choose a good partition key that evenly distributes your data. 2. Start with a reasonable number of partitions and scale up as needed. 3. Remember that the number of partitions affects consumer parallelism. You can't have more consumer instances in a group than partitions. 4. Monitor partition leadership and rebalance operations to ensure optimal performance.
Those are great tips, Victor. Now, I think it's time to reveal the answer to our quiz question. Can messages with the same key end up in different partitions?
The answer is no. Messages with the same key will always be routed to the same partition. This is a fundamental aspect of Kafka's design that ensures order for messages with the same key.
Thank you, Victor, for all these insights. To summarize what we've learned today: 1. Topics are logical collections of messages in Kafka. 2. Partitions are physical divisions of topics that allow for scalability and parallelism. 3. Messages with the same partition key always go to the same partition, ensuring order within partitions. 4. While partitions offer great benefits, it's important to choose the right number for your specific use case. In our next episode, we'll be diving into producers and consumers in Kafka. Don't forget to subscribe and rate our podcast if you're enjoying these Kafka crash courses. Until next time, keep streaming.